Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock Channel. Today we're going to check out an interesting site in Hawaii. It is a site where most people will walk past during what they normally do during a vacation without thinking too much about four big rocks with a mysterious ancient history. Tourists are busy with boating and surfing, and pondering the origin of four stones with a legend will not be an interesting activity. If you lived a century ago, you would have been told that Hawaiians came from Malaysia, who were from Indonesia, who then came from farther India. Their superior navigation skills brought them to New Zealand, Samoa, Tahiti, and other Pacific islands. Today, we are told that Austronesians came from Taiwan. It was their unparalleled knowledge of astronomy and wind that brought Asian gene to Hawaii. But I'm curious, who were the first couple who landed in Hawaii? Did the first trip come with a few male and female couples and they decided not to go back to their island of origin because of the treacherous journey, and eventually their origin became a myth? Or did the pioneers have a successful trip and went back and forth and brought many other friends and relatives along to populate Hawaii? Despite the famous Kontiki experiment for the mainstream to conclude that Polynesians were great seafarers, there has been no account that they were sailing in the Pacific Ocean among the primitive European ships. The primitive European ships, such as the Snow, was wrecked by Mother Nature in Oahu Island in 1796. Even the one used by Captain James Cook was damaged enough to render unworthy of ocean journey, returned to the bay in Hawaii Island, where he ended up being killed by natives who no longer believed he was the god they had been waiting for. So, to imagine there were many pandanus fiber quality sails zigzagging across the ocean and populate every possible piece of land is a narrative most people have a hard time imagining. Hawaiian Islands are small specks of land in the vast ocean, but the number of myths and legends are so numerous that one has to wonder, how is that possible? From their own story of origin to the many beliefs known as kapu that shaped their culture, nothing says with confidence that they came from a certain place, or this is what happened prior to the arrival of Europeans. Today, we are going to check out an interesting monument at Waikiki Beach at Waikiki Bay. It is called the Stones of Life. However, the Old English version about a century ago is the wizard stones called Kapai Mahu. The locals call them Ka Pohaku Kahuna Kapai Mahu, where Pohaku means stone and Kahuna means priest. Since the stones are said to have healing power, it is simply known as Healing Stones of Kapai Mahu. These four basalt stones on a raised platform encircled by iron fence has an amazing history and is a monument that belongs to the city of Honolulu. To understand how these stones became sacred and spiritual, we have to know the story of its origin, which is believed to go as far back as 400 AD. According to local tradition, there was once a group of four wizards or soothsayers from a land called Moa Ula Nui Akea, which mainstream interprets as Tahiti. So right from the start, the origin of today's version is already adulterated. The locals didn't know there is an island approximately 4,400 kilometers or 2,700 miles south, which we now call Tahiti. If they do, they would have told the Europeans instead of the Europeans telling them where their ancestors were from. Anyway, after going around Hawaiian Islands, the four wizards decided to settle in Uluko, which is said to be where Moana Surf Rider Hotel is today. The four wizards are Kinohi, Kahaloa, Kapuni, and the leader was Kapai Mahu. Kapuni possessed great spiritual power. Kinohi has all-seeing eyes, which I'm thinking along the idea of third eye. Kahaloa has the power to breathe life and heals without touching. Kapai Mahu heals by laying his hands on the sick. There is a good video you can find on YouTube on this story. The wizards are said to be Mahu, which means they are neither male nor female and are described as large male with female characters. They are mentally and spiritually free from being known as male or female. The four healers performed many healings to the people of Oahu. When it was time for them to leave, the villagers quarried four large boulders from Kaimuki, and thousands of inhabitants dragged them to Waikiki Beach. On the night when the moon rises at dawn, which is known as Night of Kane, the locals moved the boulders from Kaimuki to Kuhio Beach. During a month-long ceremony, the four healers blessed the stones as if they gave their power to the stones and vanished. It is believed that they placed mana or spiritual power in the rocks and is believed to have healing properties. The exact original location of the stones is hard to be accurate because it was moved several times throughout its history. One stone is said to be at the site known to surfers as Baby Queen. Another stone is said to be found on Iwa side of Apuakehau stream where Royal Hawaiian Hotel is. The third and fourth stones are said to be in Uluko where Moana Hotel is. In 1900, Governor Archibald Cleghorn saw two stones in his property and two more in nearby property with historical value. He excavated all four stones and placed them in his property with a will that said they should never be disturbed. In 1941, the land was leased to build bowling alley and was buried as foundation. In 1958, it was demolished and the stones were recovered. In 1963, they were relocated to Kuhio Beach, but they were then moved 50 feet away. In 1997, Manu Boyd, a cultural historian and the great-great-grandson of Archibald Cleghorn, made a permanent home for the stones, which is where they are today. In 1997, a ceremony was held to place the rocks as seen today. The dedication ceremony was attended by delegates from Tahiti. An upright basalt stone known as Ta'ahu Ea, which means the life, was brought from Tahiti and a ritual with incantations and blessings were performed with healing plants such as bamboo, wild tobacco, Hawaiian cotton and beach naupaka. The upright stone sits on an altar beside the four healing stones, and it certainly reminds me of linga in a yoni found in Hinduism. I believe healing stones were once plentiful, and it was a belief common to natives of Hawaii before the arrival of Christianity. I would not be surprised that megalithic stones were once proudly standing upright, believed to be sending the unseen healing force through healing stones to cure local natives. Local knowledge gave them religion, but sadly, it was lost due to another religion. In Wahiawa County of Oahu Island, there are two rocks known as Kukaniloko birthstones. Since approximately 14th century, this was the place for royal families to give birth to babies. This sacred site is now a state monument. How did these stones become a preferred choice for delivery is a mystery. Why did ancient Hawaiians believe these stones have special power? Christians systematically replace old supernatural belief in order to save human souls from entering hell. but they replace it with a religion with supernatural belief equally hard to believe. Lot's wife turned to stone in the form of pillar of salt has an equivalent in local tradition of Menehune fish pond. Creation story of first man from clay, which is same as existing belief. Noah's flood replaced with their own existing flood story and many more. Hawaiians have many stones with power, or at least believed to have power, and the origin is always mythical in nature. These two lava rocks have male and female representations with stories related to fertility. It has such strong force that even non-believers could not resist touching it for the sake of a successful pregnancy for a healthy generation. There is also another boulder in Molokai where the locals believe if you whisper into the rock for something, your wish will be granted. This is also one of the sacred rock with mythical story. The knowledge of how to tap into the unseen healing energy is lost forever. Our modern healers are Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, GlaxoSmithKline, and Bayer. They came from a mythical land in the north known as Europe, where white water falls from the sky like cotton once a year. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation on Kapai Mahu of Oahu. See you in the next video and have a wonderful day. This is Berniong signing out. Awuyo aloha.